Hello, welcome to the second video in the series. This one's going to have the first two bosses in it. It's mainly because testing is going to be the first two bosses, and then I'm going to put out a video the next day. So I'm hoping to get this out today, Wednesday, and then the next day, Thursday, I'll try to have it out with the next three bosses on it. Basically, it's out a day ahead of raid testing. And then I'll do a video with the last three bosses probably early next week, and having gone through everything. So these videos cover normal, heroic, and mythic mechanics as they were known at the time. So one didn't have a lot. Two I just did today because it's not on Wowhead, but it is on the PTR, or not PTR, beta. So I have set that up. Everything. Yeah, so it'll be the first two bosses. And then bosses 3, 4, and 5 will be the next video. One of those was recorded today. A few of those were recorded. The other two were recorded last week. So, and again, things may change based on when the bosses were when I recorded these. So they may not be 100% up to date. But yeah, hopefully that will be enough. Enjoy. Time to start working on the strategies for testing. I'm gonna go over a bunch of this. So Gnawing Frenzy seems to be like the intermission kind of P2-ish phase. Ulgrax spills fluid at her target, inflicting damage divided between all players within 10 yards of impact. Okay, so it's going to be dodge the swirlies from Slathering Maw, because that's going to be between all players within 10 yards of impact. Oh wait, hang on. That's not what we want to do at all. Ulgrax spews web fluids at his current target. Nature damage divided between all. Okay, so we want to soak in big circle. Big circle. Slathering Maw. Yeah, you want everyone in that circle. So Slathering Maw is a big circle around big circle around player target. Slathering Maw. Afterwards, all players hit are pulled close to Ulgrax, players in 45 yards. And run away. So we probably do a roar or something for that. People use their movement things to get away. But we'd probably call for a roar. Circle around target, Slathering Maw, then run away. You'll be pulled in. Cool. Devoured. Yeah. So we don't need to focus. So like my notes these days are more like sort of what to do and then maybe a name, but like I used to do every single ability. And there's a lot here that just doesn't matter. Like you're going to get, it's going to hurt if you get pulled in and the thingy explodes. So all you really need to know is like during Slathering Maw, person target, run in circle to soak with them. Then when soak is over, run away. You'll be pulled in, run away. That's all you need to know. You don't need to know that you're going to take 225,000 physical damage every second when you're devoured. That's not important. What you need to know is it hurts. So, my notes have changed over the years. I'm glad I don't do the every single note anymore, because it took so long to do this, and it's just like most of that stuff doesn't matter, and people really don't want to listen to you explain what every single little mechanic does. To me, as someone who enjoys mechanics, like I love seeing what everything does, but honestly, it's not, and for raid leading, it's just not important. What's important is run away, and that's about it. So, alright, Stalker's Webbing. Ulgrax shoots webs over random destinations, inflicting damage to players within 4 yards of impact, and leaves behind Stalker Netting. Stalker Netting traps players. Void webs around room. Void webs around room. Stalker Netting will review for 12 seconds. Until I read something else that's just like, you need to go and use this webbing, and then I need to change my notes. But so far, nothing indicates that you actually need the webbing. It hurts, and you really don't want to do it. Okay, Venomous Lash. Ulgrax flips around, inflicting a bunch of damage on impact. and additional, nature damage every 1 second for 12 seconds to all players. Players within 20 yards get knocked back. Okay, so I guess Venomous Lash, as far as I can tell. So I think Venomous Lash is just your unavoidable rate damage. It's a healer problem, to be honest, which I hate. I mean, it's, gives healers something to do, but I hate being like, it's a healer problem. But I mean, that's, it's like Naruto's Scream, for instance, where it's just like, it does some damage. It hurts, and it's a healer thing to deal with, because we can't do anything else about it. Digestive Venom. Your veins burn, inflicting 29k nature damage every 2 seconds at seconds. Once removed, venom erupts from your skin, inflicting 20 nature damage to players within 7 yards. And dissolve any stalker netting. Ooh! Yeah, just 6-second dot, stay 7 yards away from others. But that's cool. You get Venomous Lash happens. Yeah, it's like, get ready to go stand by some webbing. And remove it. Okay, so Brutal Crush is the tank buster. Crushes players in a cone in front of him, inflicting 115 physical damage. In addition, the attack also inflicts players with any application of Tenderize. Receive 10% reduced healing. Okay. So yeah, swap after each Brutal Crush, 20 seconds for Tenderize to fall off, which reduces healing. Super good to know. So that's fun. 200% reduced healing. Oh, that's brutal. I wonder if these are like normal numbers. We don't know when gnawing frenzy comes up. I'm assuming at 100% energy. Ravenous spawn emerging from Ulgrax. Ravenous spawn must feed. So is this tankable? It must be, right? Disembowel the beetle bites at the player's guts, inflicting a lot of damage. Additional damage every 2 seconds for 10 seconds. Chunky Mascara. On death, the beetles enter and spill across the floor, creating a tempting appetizer. Feed Hurl Mascara into Ulgrax Gullet to sate his hunger. Oh, this is cool. We want a Lost here. With the Ravenous Spawn, so we can get Ravenous Spawn down fast. This is cool. Okay. So, tank is going to pick up the Ravenous Spawn. Okay, does damage plus a 10-second dot. It's not too bad. Yeah, creating a tempting appetizer, feed Hurl Mascara into Ulgrax's Gullet to save. So I guess he just stands there and stomps his feet. Oh no, there's more. There's more. So, there's more to this than that. So we have Juggernaut Charge. Ulgrax tears across the field, leaving stalker netting in his wake. Oh shit. Well, there it is. This is where we're going to have to use... So I wonder if we can control this. Tears across the field, leaving stalker netting in his wake and inflicting 90 shadow damage to players in his path, knocking them back. That feels like a typo. I feel like 90 damage isn't much. Like, it's so little. I think it's supposed to be more than that. And so much of this is probably going to end up changing, too. As destination, energy erupts from Ulgrax. That's a lot of damage. That's more like it. Shadow damage to players within 20 yards. Shadow damage on impact. And shadow damage 1 second to 8 seconds for everyone else. So Juggernaut Charge really, really hurts. I'm assuming there's going to be like a circle or something, and it's going to show where he's going to charge to. I'm just going to assume it's going to be a circle or something. So I'm just going to keep away from circle. That's usually how that goes. You know, the more of these I do, I've noticed, the better I'm kind of getting at figuring out, like, what's going to be, like, what's it going to probably look like. If has a charge, does a lot of damage of destination, plus 8 second dot, plus 2 away from circle, it's probably going to be there. Plus 8 second, range wide dot, there we go. Yeah, it does a lot of damage to everyone. So, Juggernaut Charge is a healer problem. Just don't be in its path and don't be at the end. Move away. Alright, Swallowing Darkness. Ulgrax emerges from under his prey, inflicting damage to all players within 30 yards. I'm assuming he's gonna go. You're gonna see him go underground, and then you're gonna have like a swirl, like a circle animation that's gonna have like some dirt that's gonna come up, and then he's gonna pop up. But we need to be out of that circle because it says to all players not split. So and honestly, with Swallowing Darkness, there's no reason anyone should be in that circle. So Hungering Bellows. Ulgrax screams for food, inflicting a bunch of damage to all players on impact. Additional nature damage every 1 second for 10 seconds. Each time Ulgrax screams, he gains an application of Insatiable Rage. Insatiable Rage, with each Hungering Bellows, Ulgrax goes Anger, gaining 25% increased damage done for 30 seconds. So this is kind of our, it's a little bit of a DPS check on this. Okay. So yeah, Insatiable Rage stacks with each bellow, pseudo DPS check, 25% increased damage done for 30 seconds per stack. Yeah, so this is kind of our pseudo enrage, Hungering Bellows and Insatiable Rage. The longer we go, the more is there. So we definitely want to lust on the first Ravenous spawn. And last one, Hulking Crash. Ulgrax smashes the ground, inflicting a lot of damage to players within 300 yards. So everyone. 0 nature damage to players outside the impact zone and does knocks all players back. Alrighty. So we have the strat for this. Okay, so here is how the first fight goes. Ulgrax the Devourer. You are going to start and for P1, he's going to, so there's probably going to be a bar that's going to go down. And it's going to be like his hunger bar. So, yeah, let me just check something here. Yeah, so it's probably going to be like a hunger bar that's going to be going down throughout P1. So for tanks, you're going to be swapping after each Brutal Crush. You got to wait 20 seconds for the Tenderize to fall off. Each stack is reduces a lot of healing received, so super important. You'll have 200% less healing, 200% healing reduction, so it's going to be hard to heal. You're going to want to top yourself up just before you get hit. So make sure you're at 100 health, and you're good to go. When you get hit, pop your things. If you have anything that's going to heal you as you go, I would pop that right away. Otherwise, there's going to be a big circle around players. You're going to go and you're going to soak with them. This is Slathering Maw. And once you get hit from that, then you're going to run away. You're going to be pulled in. So you're going to want to pop some cooldowns. We'll call for roars and other things to speed everyone up. There's going to be some webs that are going to be around the room. You need to stay away from them. Stay 4 yards away. The stalker netting will root you for 12 seconds. Venomous Lash is just some unavoidable damage. If you're within 20 yards of the boss, though, you're going to get knocked back, so don't be there. Otherwise, healers, that's going to be on you. And then Digestive Venom, 6-second dot, stays 7 yards away from others. And after it expires, you're going to stand near some stalker netting to remove. This is going to be super important after our first P2, because there's going to be a whole lot more netting around the room. Once he reaches 0 on the hunger bar, I assume, he is going to go into a frenzy. So, and get really, really angry. So the tank, one of the tanks is going to need to pick up, whichever one doesn't have the Tenderize on them, you're going to need to pick up the Gnawing Frenzy. Sorry, not Gnawing Frenzy. You have to pick up the Ravenous Spawn. It does some damage in a 10-second dot. It's not too bad. Just keep your defenses up. You'll be fine. The boss is going to do a big old charge across the room. There should be a circle where he's going to be marked on where he's going to go. It should be pretty clear, so just stay out of the way of that. Stay out of the boss's path once charge is called. It does a lot of damage at the destination, plus an 8-second raid-wide dot and a lot of raid-wide damage. So just be far away, otherwise you're probably going to get one-shot. At a certain point, the boss is going to go underground. there'll be a little circle that's going to appear where the boss is going to go up. And you're going to want to get away from that circle. Everyone go away. That's swelling darkness. And when he pops up, it's going to do a lot of damage, so don't be there. Insatiable Rage will stack with each bellow. It's a bit of a pseudo DPS check. We are going to lust once the first Ravenous spawn comes up. That's when we're going to hit our lust, and we're going to just DPS the shit out of it, and just it's going to get it down. The last bit of thing to watch out for is Hulking Crash. A lot of damage to everyone within 300 yards. If you're outside of the impact zone, be out of there. It'll do no damage, so try to get out of there as fast as you can. If we need to pop some speed things, we can do that. And so once we kill the Ravenous spawn, though, and avoid all the other mechanics and keep yourself alive, there's going to be some goo shit on the ground, and you're going to be able to go and pick it up and throw it at the boss and feed the boss. Once the boss's energy reaches, once the boss's hunger meter thing reaches 100, it'll go back to P1, and you'll be good to go, and just rinse and repeat. And that's it. That's the fight. Alright, so in the dark pits below Nerub-ar Palace, the blood of the old gods congealed in foul black pools. The bloodbound horror rises from this vile ooze, drawing everything in its path into the unseeming. Okay, so this is a two-phase fight. We're going to take just a quick look at the overview here. Bloodbound horror barfs gruesome disgorge at players, sending them into the unseeming. Faceless ones form to come to its aid, manifest horrors, and shielding it with black bulwark. Alright, so gruesome turn. Blood horror vomits on their current target, inflicting 1.5 million shadow damage in a frontal cone. Players hit are afflicted with baneful shift. Okay, so baneful shift, black blood seeps into the player, allowing them to briefly peer inside the unseeming. The realm oppresses the player with the highest form of toxicity, inflicting 159k shadow damage every 2 seconds, 40 seconds. Upon exiting, the player is afflicted with Unseeming Blight. And Unseeming Blight is the Unseeming temporarily scars the player, increasing damage taken from Baneful Shift by 100%. So basically, once you go in, you can't go in again for a minute. Continue, Faceless ones form to come to its aid. Manifesting horrors. The Forgotten Watcher manifests a blood horror or out of the Unseeming that slowly moves towards the Bloodbound horror. Shielding it with black bulwark, the Lost Watcher channels the essence of the Unseeming into the Bloodbound horror, causing it to absorb 5.8 million damage. So, okay. So my understanding of it is that you go into the Unseeming, and then you're going to go and you're going to CC the Faceless ones, and you're going to kill them and whatnot, and you're going to break the boss's shield that's there so that we can damage it from the other side. Upon reaching 100 energy, the Bloodbound horror assails players with gore splatter, inflicting deadly damage to those caught within while withering down everyone else with black blood itself. Gore splatter Bloodbound horror draws in black blood from around itself before letting out a terrifying scream, inflicting 11.1 million shadow damage to players within 0 yards. The blood is expelled back out at players, inflicting a lot of damage every 1 second for 10 seconds. Okay. Painful shift to players in a cone. A spewing hemorrhage coalesces on either side of the Bloodbound horror. Horror spews concentrated black blood around itself for 20 seconds, inflicting 1.2 shadow damage and applying internal hemorrhage to players caught within. Lost Watcher's Spectre Slam inflicts heavy physical damage. Lost Watcher slams the current target, inflicting 2.5 mil. So I feel like a tank's got to go in to tank the Lost Watcher. But let's find out. Let's keep looking. Griffin Disgorge, Forgotten Harbingers, Mash Manifest Horrors until defeated. Grasp from Beyond continuously form underneath the random player's feet. Bloodbound Horror calls into the Unseeming to target multiple players, causing tentacles to begin to form at their location every 1 second for 12 seconds. Every 3 seconds, each tentacle erupts, inflicting. There is a lot of damage. Applies Baneful Shift, players in a cone, yeah. Gore Splatter, we know that one. Applies Healing Absorb to all players. Horror rains blood down from the sky, coating all players in black blood, causing them to absorb 1 point. Oh, this is hard. Okay, this is going to be fun to test tomorrow. Okay, so for phase 1, Gruesome Disgorge. That looks like the tank swap. And then Baneful Shift, we know what that is, and then we know that one there. Okay. So then we have Gore Splatter, where it draws in black blood from around itself before letting out a terrifying scream, inflicting shadow damage to players in 0 yards. The black blood is expelled back out at all players. So I feel like a lot of this, this feels like a, this feels like a healing fight. And I feel like I gotta read all these before writing any more notes. Alright. So yeah, so Gore Splatter seems pretty easy. So this one seems like a pretty good, this seems like the tank swap. Gruesome Disgorge. Okay, so I think the tank swap is going to be Gruesome Disgorge. It's going to be one tank in the Unseeming, one tank out. It's like Anduin, when Anduin had to be, yeah, you had to have one tank go underneath. So they stood in the big frontal thing, and then went underneath to deal with stuff, and the other tank stayed up. So that's what this feels like. Alright, so Gore Splatter is just going to be, there's going to be blood all around the room. It's like Nethendra from Emerald Dream, when there was all the corruption stuff that was around the room, all the green shit, and then she absorbed it all back. I feel like it's a little bit like that, but then it, all goes in and then all out again. So, that seems pretty simple. Crimson Rain, the Bloodbound horror, rains blood down from the sky, coating all players in black blood, causing them to absorb healing. That's gonna be awful. It's like the worst part of Agira. You have that shield that's on you. Gotta help your healers. I hate it. Crash from Beyond, Bloodbound horror calls into the Unseeming to target multiple players, causing tentacles to begin to form at location. After 3 seconds, tentacles erupt, inflicting shadow damage to all players within 4 yards. Okay, so we're gonna do that. Yeah, so Grasp from Beyond tentacles in the Unseeming player's feet does some damage. After 3 seconds, tentacle erupts, does big damage to anyone within 4 yards, so move away. So Grasp from Beyond, that's pretty forward. I just kind of wanted to get the abilities that are pretty straightforward, because this is all pretty straightforward stuff. Black Blood, I think this is the crap on the ground. Remember, blood seeps out from the Bloodbound horror, inflicting 15% of maximum health as shadow damage to players standing within every 1 second. Okay. I feel like that's pretty straightforward. Black Blood, just don't stand on it. Black Sepsis, no players within reach. Bloodbound horror continues to expel contaminated blood that inflicts damage. So someone's always going to be within melee reach. There we go. And that is that. I feel like phase 2 isn't really a phase, right? This 100% feels like this is just the other part. So we're gonna, well, what was the 100 energy? There was something that was at 100 energy. Upon reaching 100 energy, horror assaults players with Gore Splatter. Okay. So Gore Splatter is at 100 energy. This is 100% going to be on pull, I think, for lusting. Okay, so we have a few things to take care of. This fight's actually pretty straightforward. I think it's going to be fun. So we've taken care of all of the upstairs mechanics and one of the downstairs mechanics. I feel like Grasp from Beyond should be in the Unseeming. I'm going to put Grasp from Beyond into the Unseeming, because that doesn't affect us upstairs. This is only upstairs. And that's how it should be split. But, oh well. Okay. So, creatures of the Unseeming aid the Bloodbound horror. So we have Lost Watcher. Okay, Black Bulwark. Bulwark. The Lost Watcher channels the essence of the Unseeming into the Bloodbound horror, causing it to absorb 5.8 million damage, increasing 1 second for every 10 seconds. For 10 seconds. Channels the essence of the Unseeming into the Bloodbound horror. It's interruptible. It's a big ass shield. Don't need to know more than that. Spectral Slam, the Lost Watcher slams their current target, inflicting 2.5. Okay. And then the other one here will be Slam. Okay, Last Watcher. That's about it. It has Black Bulwark, which is interrupting, and then Spectral Slam, which is the tank mechanic. This has a lot more. Okay, so Forgotten Harbinger. Forgotten Watcher manifests a blood horror out of the unseeming that slowly moves towards the bloodbound horror. Okay, it moves towards the boss. Blood horror. It has blood pack. Blood horrors that reach the bloodbound horror are absorbed, inflicting 636,000 shadow damage to all players and increasing bloodbound horror's damage done by 5% for 30 seconds. This stacks. Okay, and that's it. So that's actually not too bad. Not really too much to edit. Yeah. Oh, I guess we should take a look at heroic and mythic mechanics. What do we have for heroic mechanics? P1. Okay, so let's see if there's anything else here. No. Anything else in Gore Splatter? Anything else here? Okay, so the stack is so yeah, it's 1 minute on heroic on this one, so that's not really a big difference. I mean, it is a big difference if you let them touch, like it's much more damning for the whole thing. It's by 10%. Okay. Anyways, we're gonna go into heroic now. Take a look, because heroic is what we're testing tomorrow, so these are gonna be the mechanics. Those are the same. These are the same, so nothing really changes in the unseeming. We just have one new thing here, which is spewing hemorrhage. Is that new? Yes, it is. Okay. Okay. The bloodbound horror spews concentrated black blood around itself for 20 seconds, I assume, inflicting 13 million shadow damage every. I assume it's gonna be 1.3 million, not 13 million. Every 0.25 seconds, and applying internal hemorrhage to players caught with. Do we know what internal hemorrhage is? I didn't see that. Yeah, I don't see any internal hemorrhage listed here, but that's okay. Oh, let's see. What's the debuff? 500% for 1 minute. Yeah, so it's. What's normal? 100%. So, like, once we're geared enough, I'm sure it'll be more for normal. It'll be, someone can go in there twice if you want. But yeah, okay. So defenses are super, super important. Although, like, I'm looking at my health right now on my bear on here because I've decided I'm gonna do bear tomorrow for testing. I just know it better, so it makes sense to use my bear for testing. But I have like 8.4 million health, so should be fine. Okay, so yeah, it's spewing hemorrhage. Alright, and then mythic. I'm hoping to get to do some mythic testing, but we'll see. Okay, so Blood Curdle is the new one, but is there anything else? I mean, aside from things just going up and getting harder, it seems like that's about it. Yeah, no, nothing really changes downstairs as far as I can tell. Things hurt more, but that's about it. Oh, the unseeming is kind of boring. Upstairs is where it's at. Okay, so this one is called Blood Curdle. Let's see what it does. The Bloodbound Horror transfuses black blood into all players. After festering for 5 seconds, each player's blood is roiled, inflicting 1.7 million shadow damage to players within 6 yards. Okay, so you have 5 seconds to spread out. Alrighty, and that's it. Alright, so time for the usual do the explanation. This is a Bloodbound horror. There are 2 parts to the fight. There's an upstairs and a downstairs called the Unseeming. We're going to be lusting on pull, and the tank swap is going to be Gruesome Disgorge. It'll send the tank into the Unseeming and 1 tank out. We're going to split into groups. Odds are going to go first, evens will go second. And yeah, so if you're upstairs, you're going to have Gruesome Disgorge as a large funnel. Anyone's going to stand inside of it. So again, odds, you're going to stand in there first. Evens, you'll stand in there second. Once you go down there, you can't go down again for a minute. Otherwise, you'll take a lot more damage. You get to take some damage just by going down there, but we're going to be keeping the faceless ones from reaching the boss and reaching the boss's shield. And there's a few other things to do. I'll get there in a minute. For Gore Splatter, it's going to be at 100 energy, it absorbs blood from all around the room, and then spits it all back out for some massive damage. So we're just going to have to heal our way through that. Crimson Rain is going to be a big healing absorb shield, so help your healers out by hitting the buttons that heal you up a little bit, and help get rid of that as quickly as possible. The Black Boss is going to ooze some black blood. You don't want to stand in that, it'll do some damage. And then Black Sepsis, if no one is within a melee reach, boss throws a tantrum and does a bunch of rate damage. Pretty straightforward. The Unseeming, this is where the actual fight seems to take place. There's going to be a grass from beyond, so at a certain point, some tentacles are going to be at players' feet downstairs. It'll do some damage, so you want to, after 3 seconds, so after they appear, you should be able to run away from them. We'll have to test that, make sure that's the case, but you should be able to run away from the tentacles, and they'll erupt and do some damage to anyone within 4 yards. So when you get it on you, so when you're down there, stay a little bit spread until the tentacles come out, or when they're about to come out, spread out, and then you're going to run away from the tentacles. Otherwise, it's going to be Lost Watcher. This is what the tank's going to pick up. It has Black Bulwark. It's a big shield, but it's interruptible. The Black Bulwark will shield the boss itself, so we don't want to actually let that go off. So as soon as the cast starts, interrupt it right away. Has to be interrupted. Otherwise, it's bad times for all of us. Spectral Slam, it's going to hit the tank or the target, whoever it's targeting, which should be the tank, for a lot of damage. So just pop your defensives for that one, mitigate as much as you can. You should be okay. Forgotten Harbinger, it's going to create blood horrors that are going to move towards the boss. They cannot reach the boss. For each one that reaches the boss, it'll increase the damage done by 10% for 30 seconds, plus some raid-wide damage, and that affects stacks. So the more that reach, the more we're fucked. So you are going to want to 100% CC and kill. So yeah, downstairs, you're going to CC and kill the blood horrors, and you're going to hit the Lost Watcher a bunch. The tank's going to pick that up. And that's it for the basic mechanics. On heroic difficulty, which we'll be doing, Spewing Hemorrhage is one more mechanic that's upstairs. It spews black blood around boss, spews black blood around itself. It does damage to anyone caught in it, so just be careful, be away from the boss. And for Mythic, there's going to be Blood Curdle, which everyone gets some black blood inside of them. Spread out. Don't be within 6 yards of each other after 5 seconds. Otherwise, it does some damage. Otherwise, that's it. That is the Bloodbound horror. Alright, that's it for this next video. That was the first 2 bosses, and the next video will be out tomorrow, and we'll be there with the next 3 bosses. Yeah, thank you for joining, and see you in the next one.